Well, g'day, Shar. Welcome to the show. It's great to have you here.
Thank you very much, Peter.
Now, before we kick off, we'll dig right in to find out all about you and the things that you got going on, because it's really exciting stuff that you got going on. But could you just tell us a little bit about yourself, kind of the work you do and some of the clients maybe that you work with?
Yeah, sure. So I run a couple of different businesses, but they beautifully all dovetail into each other. So I have the Style Network Group, which is a business networking group that we've nicknamed TSNG. And the Style Network Group, or TSNG, is really a new style of business networking. So what we've created here in Queensland, and we have 3 successful chapters now, we've been running here for 18 months, is really a new style of business networking. What that actually means is that we've created a 2.5-hour format that really takes people on a personal journey, and they are able to connect with other business owners at a whole different level. We've also been able to incorporate interactive trade table displays, which really allows our corporate sponsors who set up their tables, whether they're website companies or they've got products to sell, and rather than just standing there like some networking groups, and I've been a member of, and I've actually been on the other end of that table, where literally you'll set all your things up, you lug it up the stairs, you do this beautiful display, and people pass you on the way to the bathroom and on the way back. And then they'll say, oh, look, I'll come back later, but, I've just got to catch up with this person. And you end up literally not getting a lot out of it. So we actually have a format where the whole group will move table to table to ensure that that sponsor gets the highlight and the spotlight for those couple of minutes that they deserve and they've paid for. And that's been an integral part of our group's success as well, because we do really give voice. We choose our sponsors very carefully to ensure that their product or service is going to add value to our members, and members would actually be interested in their product. But one of the key elements of the success of TSNG in the last 18 months, about 8 months ago, I introduced a section where we all shared our why, our purpose. And honestly, Peter, it was phenomenal what happened. Business owners, and this started from obviously Simon Sinek, start with the why. And I watched that video earlier last year, and it just sat with me for months. I thought, there's something in this. This is amazing, because I've always been a person that you work out how to turn your passion into profit, and I always knew there was something in that, but didn't quite know what. And then I thought, well, let's introduce it into my group. We've got some awesome business owners with medium to high-end businesses. They've been around the block. They've lost things, gained things. Let's actually ask them, why is it they do what they do now? And I was absolutely blown away by the response. People were emotional. People were expressing joy, because afterwards they'd share with me, no one ever asked them why they did what they did. And one gentleman who works with he's a partner of a very, very large international firm. He's one of our members. And he came up to me after and said, even my wife doesn't know why I'm in this industry. And I thought, oh, what a crime. Like, there has to be some sort of outlet for these people. And what I noticed happening was that TSNG is all about connecting and building the relationship, which you would certainly appreciate. Without relationship, there is no business that will ever take place. And that's something we really strive for within our group. And when people were sharing their why, I looked around the room and people were connecting with that person at a whole different level. It's like we throw away the mask that we walk in with, and you probably would have done the same. You turn up to an event, you might have had, you literally climbed Mount Everest before you get there, between, kid issues, your cat vomits on your shoe on the way out, you're in traffic, can't find a park spot, all of a sudden it rains, don't have your brolly. Life goes on. The minute we walk through that networking door, it's like we put on our game face and we go, hi, I'm Shar, this is my business and life's fine. When it, and how many business owners do that because we want the world to see us all things perfect, and that's not real. And I noticed when we shared the why that people were starting to get emotional, and it wasn't just the women, funny enough, it was the guys as well, because they were able to really connect and tell people, hey, I'm not just another mortgage broker. I'm a mortgage broker because when I was looking to get an investment property, I had 5 children. I could afford it. We paid our mortgages on time. And I had a bank say, no, you can't do it because you have 5 children. So this person in particular went out and found a mortgage broker who obviously was able to help her. And she thought, wow, that's the industry I'm going to be in, because I don't want people like me not to be able to get a loan because someone's a bit too lazy to try. And that becomes, wow, you don't just look at her card and go, she's just a mortgage broker. She's a mortgage broker that got into the industry because her why. That was her why. It was able to help her get ahead financially. She then wants to help others. So if you've got two cards on your desk and you know one person's why and not the other, who would you choose?
Absolutely. And you know what you're saying there? Like I'm engrossed in what you're saying, because I totally get that, because that's part of the purpose of this show as well, is to really, so people can connect with the heart of your business and, you know, the heart and soul of what you do, which is essentially is your why, is the reason that you do it. And, you know, this format allows that to really come out. And so, yeah, we're very much in alignment with that. Like, and I think that's totally awesome. So I didn't know all this stuff about you. So all I knew is you've got YMag, which we're going to talk about later. And so it sounds like YMag came about naturally as part of the process. I find when you're in action, you're doing things, inspiration turns up. Like, we didn't even have this interview planned until last night. We're on Facebook, we're chatting. I was like, hey, look, why don't you come on and talk about this? This is awesome. And so you agreed. So it's kind of just by being in action, having those things in place allows great things to happen. And so can we move on now to talking about how YMag came about from that process?
Absolutely. So after months of hearing people's why in the events, because we run 3 chapters here in Queensland, and they're a monthly event in each location, and about 1,000 people had turned through the events in that time, and I was able to listen to their whys, and I thought, oh my gosh, this is amazing. There are some amazing stories, and some people have been through, 5 lifetimes of adversity in one life. And then being able to stand up, dust themselves off and go, hey, okay, well, here I am, and this is why I'm doing this business, because I don't want all of that stuff to happen to other people. Therefore, I'm going to teach you tools and tricks that I've learned through all of that to get on with it. And I thought, why isn't there a platform for these people to showcase? Because their story could inspire just one person somewhere in the globe to step up out of their comfort zone and look at that person and go, gee, that person's only 6 to 12 months ahead of me, and all they did to get from where I am, which is where they were, is step out of their comfort zone, surround themselves with the right people, get support, and I could be in that magazine in a year later. There was no platform for that. And I was getting frustrated, and a lot of my close friends were getting frustrated, because typically a lot of the magazines feature the rich and famous consistently. They stub their toe, they get drunk and fall over in a tree. Oh, look, they're on the cover again. And as business owners, there was no outlet I could find that inspired me as an entrepreneur who's opening an orphanage and doing all these great things. Well, where do I go for that inspiration? I couldn't find the right magazine. So one of my favourite sayings, which Gandhi said, was, be the change you would like to see in the world. So I thought, well, Shar, why don't you put some of these stories, give those white people a platform and launch a magazine? So that's how YMag came about, with the hope that when we launch next week, people will literally read your story and other people's stories and go, wow, all I have to do is step up and out, surround with the right people, and I could be that person. And that's the real story behind why I wanted YMag.
Okay, and so how did you then... So you're at the point, you've got the idea. How do you take that from this grand idea, this great idea, and what are the steps that you took to actually bring it around to, we're launching in a week? I don't think that it probably happened overnight, a few days. Yeah, just had an idea and quickly slapped it together. I'm sure there's a lot of work gone into it. So what could you talk us through some of the steps you took to get to this point?
Absolutely. And look, I don't know if anyone knows the disc profiling, maybe you do, but I'm a star creator supporter. So I'm someone that idea a minute. Like, I can come up with businesses every 5 seconds and register websites, and I am a bit of a serial website registrar. But, I just think that if all of them don't work, that's okay, but one of them might. So when I came up with the idea, the first thing I do, because I think it's a big thing for business owners that work on their own, it doesn't matter what size business they are. If they're a solo entrepreneur, no one holds you accountable. So what I did was I announced on Facebook, it might have been October, I don't quite remember. I announced on Facebook, I think September, October, and said, hey, I'm going to launch an online magazine. This is what it's called. I've started my Facebook page. Hop over and like it. All the details are coming, because I put it out there because I have a huge community on social media that support me and, love the way I do things. I thought, well, if I'm that person to them and I hold myself accountable, I will not let them down. So that's the first, and I think that's the key, because a lot of us can have ideas, and if you are working from a home office like I do, who's going to hold you accountable? If you've written it on a bit of paper on your desk, who's going to see that? So if you decide, oh, that's a little bit too hard and scary because I've never done an online magazine before, I'll just tear that off and put it in the bin. No one's going to know. You know. And so when you put it out there, you hold yourself accountable. That was the most important part for me. I originally thought I could pull it together in December. Unfortunately, I fell quite sick for 3 weeks, and I'm not one to do things by halves. So I delayed the launch to February 6th, which is coming up now in a week. So that was the first step. Then I thought, okay, teamwork. There's no one can achieve anything great on their own. So who do I need around me? Who do I need to surround myself with? Then I started the page. Then I obviously put out a call out for people to write their story. Tell me why you do what you do. Post it on our YMag Facebook page, and we will screen those stories and choose when you go in the magazine. We're really trying to, as best we can, feature everybody at some point. Whether in the next month or 6 months down the track, we might be deciding to put you on the cover. So at some point we'll try and feature everyone. And then I look to outsource support, because obviously I can't do everything. I run a household of 3 children, and hubby travels quite a bit. And obviously I've got my business networking group. I do a bit of mentoring. So you've got to be realistic with the project. And if you're going to do it well. So really set a game plan of, okay, if I'm launching at this date, who do I need? I needed journalists. I needed writers. I'm not clever enough for that. And I needed someone who could design the magazine in a theme that was as good quality as the Oprah magazine and you know, Women's Weekly, and it's got to be of that quality if you're going to do it well. So I really put my team together. I sourced people. I found people who could come on board, hired them, gave them the brief. I have an executive assistant who is fabulous, and she basically, you know, collects stories, makes sure it's sent to the people on time, and really runs all of that. So I think the key thing is there, put it out there, hold yourself accountable, and then get a team to support you.
Okay. So you obviously knew some people already that you could speak to about it, like to assemble this team. Was it already people you knew, or did you have to go and actually find some of these people?
I did have to find them. What I did firstly, because I've got quite a good network and I knew some people who had previous experience with magazines, I sort of rang them up and wasn't scared to say, I have no clue what I'm doing. This is not my strength. This is what I want the end product to be, and I know it's going to be fabulous, and this is my hope for the magazine. What should I be looking for? What are the things I need to be aware of? What are the things I should avoid? How do I, go get there fast and make sure it's quality mag from day one? So I've got some amazing supportive friends, and they gave me some information. Now, another tip is that listen to all the advice. If it doesn't sit right with you, don't do it. I had a couple of people suggest a certain way to, go with the magazine, and they were quite adamant that that was the way that it worked, and it possibly did for them, and it was a number of years ago, but it didn't sit right with me, and I decided to actually go with what felt right for me, was more congruent with who I am.
Okay, I'll just stop you there for a sec. What wasn't right, and what was the right way to go in that particular situation?
Well, there was a couple of things. One of them was the actual mock cover of the magazine, because obviously that's crucial. It's like the cover of a book. And one of the suggestions I had was actually to keep the magazine very clear, very clean cut. And that's a very corporate, sophisticated look, which absolutely would suit some magazines. My previous life, a couple of years ago, I was a personal stylist, and I owned a high-end fashion boutique, and I am always in colour. I am not a black, grey, white person. And if you take colour away from me, you kill me. And the look that they were giving me, were wanting to sort of have, because I'm on the cover of the magazine for the launch, of course. Yay! But that the look that they were suggesting wasn't me, and it didn't feel congruent. And I understood all their points of why keep it clean, corporate. And again, my networking group is colourful in the sense that we have the most amazing giving people, because we're opening our orphanage. We get the most colourful business people coming through, men and women. And again, it's all about enriched lives and giving. And it wasn't true to me just to have a white background and me in a black suit. It just wouldn't work. So I went against that because it wasn't congruent, and it felt right. When I then did the mock cover, which we're banding around, it's not the final one, of course, the final one's secret, but I had a beautiful big bunch of colourful flowers behind me and a beautiful silk top with diamantes, and because I'm the bling woman, everyone went, oh, wow, Shar, that's it, that's you. And I thought, I'm so glad I stuck to what felt right for me.
Okay, yeah, so that's a good point there for people that are still trying to figure out what they're doing, you know, in business and branding and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, just doing what people say, what the coaches, the experts say, isn't always the way that you should go, by the sounds of it. Now, so you got this magazine, you've got the team, you've got all that sort of stuff. How did you then decide who goes in, who doesn't? Maybe specifically for the first edition, because this is the important one that you really wanted to get out there. So you would have had a lot of stories come in. What was kind of the criteria that you used to assemble? How many people are you featuring in there with their stories?
Okay, so each month there will be one cover person, and the cover person has a 3-page spread, and then there are 20 other people featured. So they all get a page inside the magazine, and what part of the criteria was, and I guess this goes back to, you must keep in mind what your end goal is. Start with the end in mind. The end in mind for me with YMag is it's an online global magazine featuring the you and me of the business world. So with that in mind, which is plastered on the bottom of my computer, with that in mind, when the stories came in, and we are of course inundated with people who would love to be featured, we looked at people that fit the criteria of YMag. There are so many magazines featuring, you know, the so-called rich and famous, and even people in Australia, there's some beautiful people that are constantly featured. They are wonderful, and some of them are good friends of mine. YMag isn't really the right place for them. YMag is a place for the you and me of the business world, because, Peter, who's to say that this moment right here, right now, that we are having this interview isn't one of the best parts of our journey? Because who knows where this initial relationship started at midnight on Facebook last night. Are you free for an interview? Yes, I am. Let's talk. Who's to say that this won't lead us to who knows what in the future globally, because we are so aligned that when we reach whatever our level of success is, we look back and go, remember that interview on the 31st of January? Remember that conversation on Facebook at midnight? Some people get so caught up in, when I am successful, I will. When I reach this, I will. For all those people, I say it is now. And when you look back and you've got all the money and time, if that's one of your driving goals, what do you do? You know, I love this. I love the challenge. I love where this might go. We'll brainstorm after this and say, okay, what else can we do together? You know, I love that. Who's to say that this isn't the best part? So we chose the stories in YMag that fit our concept of who YMag is. And it doesn't mean you have to be blown up or have serious, you know, abuse of any kind to be in the magazine. We have got some people like that. But there's also people in YMag who just love what they do. Absolutely love what they do. They've known it since they were a knee-high to a grasshopper. They just know that's their calling in life, and they've gone after it. Okay,
so you got the first batch, first cabs off the rank, got 20 of them. Can you mention a few of the names of some people that we can expect in the first edition?
I can. I'll get my list. Obviously yourself. Yep. We've also got a lady called Michelle Flanders, who has been through quite some terrible things in her life, and and even recently, just before Christmas, her son passed away at 18. So, you know, some people have had some terrible things happen, and the fact that she's standing up barely at the moment, but she's just getting on with it because her why is so strong. So that's going to be an amazing story to read. We've got, there's another lady actually who's relatively young, in her early 20s, and read the Robert Kiyosaki series of books when she was young, very young, and has followed those principles and literally has generated $350,000 of passive income at the age of 24. Her and her husband are about to retire and travel the world and help other people learn the secrets they've learned. So we've really got a mix of very strong, determined people that some have been through adversity and some just love what they do and now they want to share and help others. And that's what I love about this magazine. And I just hope our goal is that just one person lets us know that one story in the magazine helped them to move out of their comfort zone and step up and take their place in the world. And that's all we want.
Okay, now let's dig back to how you kind of started out down this journey. Like, when did I don't know anything about you in terms of your work history, what led to that moment of I'm going to be entrepreneurial, and just share with us how you got started.
Sure. Okay. Okay. So, in as much of a nutshell as I can, because I'm just over the 40 mark, so it's been quite a life. But in a relatively small nutshell, I'm Indian actually, born in Thailand. And I moved to Australia when I was 4. My mum then met my stepfather, who was Australian, and he became my absolute mentor, best friend, role model, you name it. Aussie sense of humour, the most professional, polished man you'd ever meet. So we grew up in on a farm in Gippsland, Victoria, so went to the country schools. But because I was Indian and being the girl, my future and destiny had already been decided before I was born. And for 5,000 years before me, pretty much every girl is betrothed at a very young age, and it's all arranged by grandparents and aunties and so on. And that was all arranged. And at the age of 11, I was actually engaged to my first cousin, who lived in Bangkok, who was 9 years older. The destiny was already chosen before I was born. So I'd grown up with that being a normal thing. I had no idea that it wasn't. And every year as a child, we would go over to Thailand and spend a month to 6 weeks, because all my mum's family lived there, all my aunties, uncles, everybody. So that was like our family holiday. And it was normal. I would know friends over there that were getting engaged and getting married at 14, 15, 16. So for me, I thought, oh yeah, that's cool. I know that that's my path. My stepfather didn't know about any of this, and when he did find out, and look, I've blocked a lot of this out, so I believe the age is around 15 and a half. He called me up to his office on the farm. He was an industrial chemist, a world-renowned industrial chemist, amazing man, and he called me up to his office and said, look, I've learned about this information. He said, is this something you would like to do? Now, Peter, you've got to understand that I had never had anyone ask me what I thought. And when you're an Indian girl, all you do is just say yes. And you're very timid and very quiet, and you don't speak up unless spoken to. You literally you're subservient. So it was the first time where someone asked me, well, is this what you want? And I was taken back, and I went, why does that matter? Like, why are you asking me that? And then we had this whole conversation, and after all of that, I was made to realise that I actually had a choice, and I stood there in my own mind in a crossroad. I could go down the path that was all I knew, which felt safe and comfortable because that's what I had been destined to do, or I could actually choose my destiny. And in that moment, in that split second, I grew up. I became an adult in my own mind, and I thought, no, actually, it's not what I want. He's a lovely guy. He's my cousin. We used to play as children, of course, lovely guy, not someone I really want to spend my life with. Do I want to have kids in another year? Not really. Do I want to move to Thailand? Not really. And at that moment, I thought, well, no, actually. And I said, but what? I can't do anything about that. And he said, well, actually, you can. You're an Australian citizen. You have some choices. And so over a course of quite a few tumultuous months, I was able to say no and break away from this relationship, and the ripple effect from that was very, very, very difficult, very difficult to deal with, because it was an embarrassment. You don't say no as an Indian girl, and it was an embarrassment for the family over there, and there was a lot of ripple effect issues with that. But at the end of the day, it was my life, and it wasn't what I wanted. So then I basically moved out giving a snapshot for the rest part because it's a bit long, but literally started work at 17 or 17 and a half for a company in an office. My now husband of nearly 20 years also started on the same day in sales, built up this beautiful friendship over 3 years. We're married now, 3 children. One of our children, our daughter, we adopted from India, and I've got 2 boys as well, 19 and 15, and she's now nearly 9. So we've travelled, we've lived overseas for 8 years. So we lived in Thailand. I was part of hotel pre-openings in the executive office. I then managed the largest group of spas in Thailand. I had 500 plus reporting staff, 13 properties, so flew around the country all the time. Then we moved to the Middle East and lived in Dubai and Abu Dhabi. And I opened a very high-end spa to capture the royals and the elite. And I was then contacted by the national airline to open my brand of spa for their 4,500 cabin crew. So I've done some amazing things. I've learnt some amazing lessons. I've made a lot of money. I've lost a lot of money. We moved back to Australia just over 3 years ago, 3.5 years ago. My eldest son was nearly 16, and it's very difficult in the Middle East. You can't work at that age. You can't drive a car till 21. It's very inhibiting. And we always said we would travel and have fun and take our kids on this great journey until it affected them. And then we decided to come home, and that's when I opened my personal style studio and a fashion boutique. And with the floods, I lost pretty much everything, not directly because of the flood, but the area that I was in, roads collapsed, the traffic and people that used to come to the area that supported my business extremely well disappeared. So I was pretty much 3 weeks away from bankruptcy in the middle of 2011. And I was selling furniture to keep food on the table, you know, really just getting back to bare bones. I launched TSNG, my networking group, because I knew that there were no groups catering for the medium to high-end business owner. And that doesn't mean bucks in the bank. That meant what was up here. They knew their business was going to be big, and they were wanting to associate with other successful entrepreneurs so that they could get there faster. And I contacted some business owners and said, well, I'm now at that stage in my business. Where do I go to mix and mingle with people like you? And I made a series of phone calls to who I respected in industries. They said, we don't network. And the reason is that there is no place for us to go. All the networking groups that we can find are focused on brand new startup SME type businesses. And we know the basics of social media. We know how to get a website up. We know all of those things, or we pay people to do it. We want to go that next level. And that's when I said, be the change you would like to see in the world. That's why TSNG came about, was a home for those people. So I launched that, and over 12 months, I didn't declare bankruptcy, even though that was offered to me many times. I was able to maintain a relationship with my suppliers and communicated with them, which is so critical. The main reason they get angry with people is they don't communicate, they hide. Even if some weeks I literally could only pay one of them $10, I would still ring and say, listen, I can only give you $10 this week, but I'm going to give it to you. And they were amazing. When I paid off all my debts, after this basically took me 12 months of concentrated effort, no income, no spending, no anything, just launched my business, worked extremely hard, paid it all off. I had suppliers calling me and sending me cards saying, you're amazing, was so proud to have had you as a client. If you ever open a shop again, we'll give you credit. I'm like, my God, no one can say they've ever had that I've talked to. And I've got a book coming out, which is called From Broke to BMW in 12 months. And it's actually going to be a month-by-month workbook. What did I do every month to get by? All my affirmations, all the people that I surrounded myself with, all the ways that you can shift product, because I ended up with a lot of beautiful designer stock. How did I move it? So this workbook's actually going to be a month-by-month tool for people to use to get themselves out of whatever financial difficulty, because there are so many businesses hurting, so many, and I'm so passionate about helping them. And of course, at Christmas time, I ordered my brand new BMW. My reward.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Okay, so yeah, I resonate with some of the story, not the made tons of money and travel the world side, but just that one of when things really go down and you're struggling week by week, you're paying what you can to your suppliers, but you're keeping that community. Like, I totally resonate with that, because it's in the YMag, a little bit about my story there, but that's what happened with my copier business.
Wow.
Very similar things. I totally resonate with that. I'm almost tearing up just as you're saying it. It's like, how much that sucks. Like it's a miserable time.
Oh, it's terrible. It's gut-wrenching. And to be able to stand there and tell your children who have never wanted for anything, like we've lived an abundant life, that, mum's businesses go down and we can't buy you the new school socks, so I'm going to sew them up again. That's, as a mother, you feel hurt, you feel like you're cheating your family, you feel like a failure. I went through all of that, but I had to really pull up my big girl's panties very quickly, because I had a responsibility. I could have thrown my hands up, and I take my hat off to people who do that, because that's not an easy decision, and I don't have any issue with people who do that, because sometimes there is no other choice. But I just decided I wanted to walk proud. I wanted to walk with my head held high in my community and in front of my family, to say, that didn't work, but now my businesses are amazing and I've paid all that off, and now look at where we're headed this year.
I want to ask you, how did you get up and take that next step? Because I think that's the one, because everyone hears the stories like, oh, I was amazing and hard luck story, and then I climbed my way back to the top. But I think they just think of it as a story and don't really sit with the person going through it, because they weren't there. What is it that made you pick yourself up and just go, I can't just lay down and die?
My why.
Like,
very simply, my why. My why is to, and it's been my why for 25 years, is to open an orphanage in Thailand. So the reason is that I lost my dad a couple of years ago, my dad who raised me, and my best friend's gone. And he took me into his life when I was about 4.5, and treated me like his daughter, and loved me and did everything for me and my brother, who's 2 years older, and just gave us an abundant life, nourished with love, just beautiful. And I thought, wow, gee, that takes a special person to love a child that isn't theirs and give them that life. And he always said to me, Puss, which was what he called me because I was a very quiet pussycat, never spoke a word. He would say, Puss, you can be, have and do anything you want in your life. Just believe you can, because I know you can. And that was all I needed. That was my fuel. You just need one person to believe in you, just that little bit more than you. And I carried that with me, and I always said for 25 years, one day I'm going to open an orphanage in Thailand and have a home for 20 young girls under the age of 5, like I was, smother them with love, tell them that they are amazing and they can be, have and do anything they want, and hopefully adopt them out, get them into beautiful homes and families like I was, that my dad took me in, and give them that opportunity and give them that choice, because they're orphans. They didn't choose that life for themselves. And unfortunately, the plight of young Thai girls, it's disgusting what happens to them, and the hands that they go into, and, from when they're little to selling things on the side of the street to, of course, when they start to develop, putting into the sex trade. Do you really think they want that? So that's been my why. And when I look at my life and things that have gone down, lost money, whatever, who cares? It's only paper. But it's what that printed paper that I'm producing now will be able to do for those children is just fantastic. And when I was at my lowest point, and I have the most amazing best friend who fortunately is also my husband of 20 years, 3 amazing children who just poured love back into me. I have an amazing close circle of best friends that just reminded me how great I am when at that moment, trust me, you don't feel great. And I had all of that, and I let them into my life to rebuild me. I have an amazing, great friend who's a kinesiologist who healed me and helped get rid of some stuff I was carrying. I just surrounded myself, and that's the key. Don't shut yourself out. I'm a very strong-minded person, and I'm a Cancer, so I don't let people in easily. But at that moment, I thought, I haven't got anything to lose. I have to let these people in because I can't get any lower. And the real message is just get up one more time. And that's all I did, because I got up for my orphaned girls, that some of them are actually born in Thailand, because if we bring them into the orphanage in just over 3 years, they're already there. And I will just pray and hope that they remain with their families and don't become orphans until a day before we open. and we literally can scoop them straight up. So that's it. It comes back to your why, Peter. That's what picks you up one more time.
Okay, well, I was going to sit with that for a second. That's amazing. Okay, so that's your reason for doing all of this stuff, right? So what's your vision then of all the things that you're doing now, right? So you got so could you just run up through a little list of what you're actually doing today? Not today, but daily. That that so we get an idea of what actually a day in the life of you sounds like.
Okay. All right. So at the moment, I've got multiple projects because I'm someone that has to be busy. There was a period of my life for a week where I was in between jobs. I drove the family nuts. Even my kids were little then. They said, "Mum, please go buy a business or get a job. You can't be doing nothing." So at the moment, I have TSNG. We have the 3 chapters here in Queensland. It's a business networking group. We're launching in Sydney in March, on March 20. Kylie Leggy is our area manager there, so we're thrilled about that. I have YMag, of course, launching. That's a monthly magazine now, and I've got an amazing team that have worked solidly with me for 3 months to produce the first issue. And I am hoping they will be able to step up and take on more of that because it's been time-consuming for me because I wanted it to be perfect. We're also launching the Naked Onion events, and we're rolling the first one out on the 1st of March in Brisbane. The Naked Onion event I think it's going to be amazing because some people say to me, and they nickname me the Y Woman, because I'm always asking why, but why do you do that? Why? So I'm the Y Woman now. I need a cape, I think, like Wonder Woman. But the Naked Onion event is literally peeling away those layers, getting rid of that mask, stripping you back. Because some people will say, "Shar, I think this is my why." And I said, "Well, does it spring you out of bed on a Monday morning that you just can't wait to do whatever it is or sit at your computer?" "Oh, no, honey, it's not your why." Well, how do I find my why? And I thought, gee, I'm getting that a lot now. We've got YMag and stories coming in, and even people that share on the wall. I'll ask a few more questions. Yeah, but why is that so important? And why that? What about that? Then the real why comes out, and it takes 2 or 3 layers sometimes of questions to get it. So the Naked Onion event is not for the faint-hearted. We are looking for people, about 60 people maximum, that are ready to strip away those layers, whatever's holding them back or whatever they think they're doing that's not really right. This seminar will actually take you through a journey of about 3.5 hours, and we've got facilitators coming in to help to strip those onion layers away and really discover your why, and then give you the tools to turn that why into something and plug you into a system, a support, a business, a mentoring or something that will give you the tools to do that. So we're really excited about that. The first one's here, and then, of course, we're bringing that to Sydney. And I've also started Your Vision Diary, because Your Vision Diary is a Facebook page at the moment. We're actually getting vision diaries printed. It's a tip that I learned. I was emceeing an event for a company last week, in fact, and I was on stage with people earning in excess of 200 million a year, and then there was me, and it was fabulous. And one of the tips I got from one of the successful entrepreneurs was, years ago, his psychologist told him, it's all great with The Secret and Law of Attraction, and I love all that stuff, but it's a little bit further out in the distance. So he said, start a vision diary the night before. Absolutely, just before you go to bed, you write what you want your day to be like tomorrow as if it already happened. So, for example, I already wrote about today, your interview and the other things I've got on, and what the outcome was yet last night before I went to bed. You read it 3 to 5 times and then literally close the light and go to sleep. As you know, Peter, our brains don't shut off. All night that plays in your head. And then when you wake up, if I said to you now, don't think of a pink elephant with black spots. First thing that comes into your mind is a pink elephant with black spots. Your brain can't help sorting for what you tell it to. So the vision diary, you've put it in there and it's played all night in your head and replayed and replayed. Today, I'm only attracting the people into my life that fit the vision diary because that's all I'm sorting for. And he got phenomenal results. His business just went through the roof. And, of course, it doesn't work every day. But if it works 3 days out of 7, isn't that better than none?
Well, that's a batting average in baseball. You hit 3 out of 7. Make $4 million a year.
There you go. That's all you need. It's a lot of all pictures.
Yeah.
So we're actually getting vision diaries printed with 90 days worth of space, so that people can actually follow it. We have a page. We've got about 40 likes. We're just starting, but we're really encouraging people to do it and share your results. If it doesn't work that day, tell us why. Maybe we can tweak your wording, because it has to be written as if your day has already happened, not what you would like it to be. So we're really excited about that. So look, all of the things I do fit into the why, which fit into our business networking, because our networking group is based about relationships. And if you know what you're doing and why you're doing it, you will connect with people better. Therefore, a business deal will take place at some point because you're connected at the right level. So everything I do dovetails into each other. And once you find your why, we're launching a Why Woman mentoring program. It's an online mentoring program in April, and it will be 1 hour for a week for people who want that support. Now I've got this brand new shiny why. What do I do with it? And we teach you skills, and we've got some facilitators who'll come online and help give tangible things for you to take away. Very low cost. We're still sorting the price out, but it's going to be a no-brainer because we want to take this to the mass. YMag is global. We want Y Woman Mentoring to be the same.
Okay. Now what I'm going to do is, as many of those things as you just talked about as that we can remember after we finish with the interview, I'm going to get all the links to those things, so to the Facebook page for the diary and for the Onion event and all those different things, and we'll get those links down in the show notes so people can watch it and click through to find whichever thing they think is going to serve them best. So yeah, with YMag now, we're coming up to the first edition about to be launched.
Yes.
What do people need to do if they want to get into one of the into the later editions? How do they go about approaching you to maybe get in there?
Sure. So it's really easy. Literally, you can go onto the YMag Facebook page and share your why. So we really just want a snapshot. Obviously, we don't want 10 pages because that'll take away from the fact that when we do actually feature you. So we just want a real snapshot of the real essence of your why. What's going to give us enough to go, we need to know more, and our readers will want to know more. So snapshot it. We obviously don't allow in there plugs to your Facebook page or websites. It's not about that. YMag is about really sharing who you are. People will find you. We can pass your details on if someone says, hey, I want to connect with them. It's not salesy. And the other thing is the website actually launches next Wednesday. So we couldn't secure YMag. We're on hold, but we've got ymagazine.com.au. And it's Y, the letter, not WHY. So, and people can go onto the website and submit their story from there as well. And they can also obviously inquire about advertising, writing a column, being one of our Y experts, and loads of other things from the website.
Okay, now, and inside the magazine itself, right, because you've got the 20 stories of why, what else is going to be in there? Like, I know there's opportunities for businesses to advertise in there as well. Like, could you tell us a little bit about maybe some of the advertising opportunities that are in there?
Absolutely. Look, we have a few different advertising opportunities, and what I absolutely love about an online magazine, I mean, the fact that we're doing this radio interview, that we can see each other and it's online, that's the way of the future. And the fact that YMag is an online magazine makes it so much more interactive, where people can literally read it at their desk, but some people will still like to read. But we are able to have hyperlinks and clicks through to videos and websites from the ad. So it makes the ad not just a stagnant thing. People can click through and be taken through to their site, and their site will then hopefully have a product or something that they can inquire about. So it's interactive advertising, which I just love. I'm that sort of person because I'm so busy. Something comes through, I can watch a video, yep, I'm sold. So we have quarter page, half page and full page. Obviously inside cover, back cover, they're the things to go first. And we also have why columns. So what we've done is this magazine is about not just sharing the why, but really educating our global audience, because we want to help business owners, and there are business strategies that apply globally. There are no boundaries anymore. So strategies that typically work in one place will work in another country. And at least you might be able to take something from that. So we have why column experts who will share, you know, pitfalls and things to look out for from their industry, what to do, give them extra knowledge, free advice, webinars and so on. So that's going to be a lot of fun. We've also got a plethora of beautiful, amazing speakers that have spoken at our live TSNG events. some of those are now contributors to the magazine, and each month will be someone different. So their knowledge is coming through the magazine as well. So it's going to be, our hope is, it's going to be one of those magazines that you just can't read in 5 minutes. Really sit down and take a couple of hours to go through not just the stories, the why stories, but to read the information and click through to people's sites and be taken on a bit of a why journey through to other people's websites as well. I'm a firm believer, Peter, that if you don't pay for something, you don't value it. That's just my personal belief. And over businesses that I've run for other companies, quite sizable businesses that I've had before, all the countries I've worked in, if you even pay $5 for something, you're going to value it. So the magazine will cost $4.95 a month or $49, I think, for 12 issues. Because I don't want people's why story. This is their whole essence. This is their mojo, if you like, poured out into this magazine, and someone subscribes and didn't pay for it, and it sits either in junk or I'll read later.
Just another free download or something online. Exactly. I totally get that. Like just a quick note. I used to subscribe to this magazine a little while ago. It's called Audio Technology. Now, this isn't a plug for them in any way, but I used to pay. I paid good dollars for this. You know, this is in 2007 was $6. I think now it's up to maybe $8 or something like that, to $8 or $9 to get that magazine. So $5 to get that kind of knowledge that you're talking about. That's nothing. But it's like you said, it's enough to say, look, I paid for this. I've actually committed myself to getting this thing that I'm not going to read. So I totally get that.
Absolutely, and I also think that if I don't value it, why would someone else? If I don't even think it's good enough to charge $4.95 for, why would you? Why would someone else down the road? And then they could just pick up one gold nugget from a why story, from a columnist, from an expert speaker, from something that transforms their life. Because as we all know, you go to seminars, we read books. I can read a whole book that's hundreds of pages long and get one thing out of it. That one thing adds $20,000 to my bottom line because I applied it, didn't just listen to it. I went and emceed the event. I learned about the Vision Diary. I now have a whole business model around the Vision Diary because I didn't just listen to it and write it in my notebook and put it in my desk when I got home. I applied it. I launched the Facebook page the next morning, registered the website, ordered the diaries. I made it happen. So someone could get something out of YMag that makes all this possible, and they've got to pay for that right.
And what I think's awesome is that the $4.95 price tag being so small, but like the commitment levels there, just the information in the magazine. Like I buy that, unless I actually have to go online. I used to get this before I even used the internet, right? So it's full of websites that I never visited. But being the fact that the mag's online and you can click through, you don't just get the information. It's clickable to get through to the extra stuff, to go deeper into the thing that really caught your attention. And it might be that thing. It might even be an ad that you click on that you find this other thing that you go, that's the exact thing I needed right now to be able to take that next step. So I'm really excited about it. I know, as you can tell, I think I totally, as a subscriber to magazines and a gatherer of information and someone who applies information, I reckon YMag's brilliant. And that's why I got you on the show. I wanted to promote this thing to the hilt as far as and wide as we can, because I think it's going to be such a great resource for people.
Thanks, Peter. Appreciate that. It means a lot coming from you because I've read your story. So I know where you've come from in the journey, and it takes a special person to do what you've done. So awesome what you've put together with the show as well. Thank you very much.
Oh, that's all right. Thanks. So it's been awesome having you on. I want to get just one more thing before we finish up, get you just one tip that you could something we could leave people with, just randomly, anything, I don't know, whatever it is that you think, just a little message you want to pass on to people, and then let's tell them in the last stage just what address that they can go to get YMag.
Okay, I think the tip that I would leave someone, and it's something that I have always done, even when business was terrible and I was selling furniture to keep food on the table, there is one thing I didn't give up. That was my mentor. Without a mentor, without someone who believes in you just that little bit more than you do, honestly, it is difficult for business owners. You need someone who has consistently got your back. You need someone to... If we knew all the answers, we would have everything we wanted in life. And if anybody sitting there watching this thinks they don't need a mentor, they will never grow as big as their potential is. a mentor, a good mentor, will stretch you that next level, will push you out of your comfort zone, but give you a safe place to land once you take that step. So I highly recommend find a mentor, whether it's somebody online for $1 a day. I switched the mentor I was using because obviously couldn't afford that, but I went on to a program that was $1 a day. Like, you know, I could grow flowers out the back and stand on the side of the street to get my dollar, but I did not pick up my mentoring. And I am now a mentor, and that's why I was doing it personally last year. Now I'm taking it online, not trying to plug my mentoring, because you really do need to find a mentor that aligns with you and your values. I'm a bit full on for people because I'm opening my orphanage. I'm the voice of 20 little girls who don't have one yet. I can be quite strong and tough. I do take my clients to where they want to go, but I'm not everyone's cup of tea. There is so much choice out there. Find someone who aligns with you and have a mentor, and your business will just transform.
Excellent advice. Excellent. And where do we send people to get YMag? Because the reason I say this is because this might end up being an audio as well that people can download. So they might be just hearing this, not being able to see it on the site. So where can they go to get YMag?
Okay, so the website is launching on the 6th of February. So if you go there before then, it won't be. But the 6th of February, next Wednesday, it's www.y, and that's the letter Y, ymagazine.com.au.
Okay. And you can also find YMag on Facebook.
On Facebook as well, yes.
Well, thanks so much, Shar, for coming on and sharing your story. I've had a great time, and I've learned so much about your journey and all things YMag, and I'm just looking forward to where it's going to go.
Thank you so much for the opportunity, Peter. Really appreciate it.
No, you're welcome. Okay. See you later.
See you. Bye-bye.